Hello, PJ here for Intense Computing, and today we have a video for you about Urban Terror server setup. Now, I know we have done 2 videos already about this, but finally our YouTube account is allowed to make videos longer than 15 minutes, meaning unlimited amount and in HD, which is awesome. Thank you so much, YouTube. So what we're going to do is make a video about setting up Urban Terror. The first thing that you want to do is work with your router configuration. Now, some routers you get from Verizon, some routers you get from Comcast, or you buy your router. Now, I happen to have a Linksys WRT54G. A lot of people have this router, but if you don't, I will have a link or a few links in the description on how to set or do this with your own router. I'm sorry. So I'm just gonna do like the most general routers, like the biggest and the best, because most of the time the smaller routers or the routers that aren't as well known or used are basically the exact same configuration as the well-known routers. Okay, so let's get started. So now we're going to go to we're going to open up a new tab here, and we're going to go to this address. Now this is for the Linksys router that I said. It is 192.168.1.1. Now the authentication required is going to ask you for a username and a password. Now the default is admin, and then the password is also admin. If you set yours differently, then go ahead and log in now. So once you're logged in, this is what you're going to see if you have a Linksys router, and you're going to go ahead and click on Applications and Gaming. Now ignore these down here, you're not going to worry about these, but what you are going to be worried about is this up here. So what you're going to do is write URT for the application, and then start is going to be 27960, and end is also going to be actually it's going to be 27961, and then that way you can have your computer and the server set up on two different ports. So we're going to set your IP address. Now, how you get that is by going to Start, and then typing in CMD, selecting that, and then typing in ipconfig. Now that will be in the description also. You can press enter. Okay, so now what you come up with is when you scroll up, you'll see something that says IPv4 address. It will say something along the lines of 192.168.1.102. Now don't be worried if yours says something like 172.1. blah blah blah. It might say a little bit different depending on your router. But basically you're going to take that last stream of numbers, because they already have here, they already have it put in for you. They already have the 192.168.1.1. So we're going to take on mine the 102, and now all of this is filled out. You do want to leave the protocol on both, and then you're going to enable it by clicking that little check. Now you're going to save the settings, and that's all you really need to do. That's that detailed of a process. So now the next part is working with the actual server itself. So we can exit out of this, and we're going to go ahead and go into my Urban Terror folder. Now if yours isn't on your desktop, you might have to go into Start, Computer, Boot Camp, or I'm sorry, your C drive, not Boot Camp, your C drive, whatever the name of that is, and then Program Files, and find where it says Urban Terror. Of course mine isn't in here because mine's on my desktop, but if yours is in your program files, then that's where you're going to need to access it from. I would suggest moving it to your desktop though if you are going to be running a server. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go into the Q3UT4 folder. From there, you're going to right click on server. It might not say server.cfg, it might just say server. You're going to right click on that, and click on Open With. Now, if open with does not appear when you right click, you might have to choose from the window, select a program from my computer, and then you're just going to select Notepad and then click OK. Now, it will open in a Notepad document. I'm going to maximize it actually. No, I'll make it like this so that you guys can see. Okay, so now, alright, right here, let's go ahead and start with the administration info. That, it doesn't matter, but I would suggest using the name that you use on the game, so I'm going to put Oakley. Now, the email is going to be your email. I'm going to use this email. Okay, and then right here, the SV hostname, this guy right here, that's going to be your new unnamed server. So, I'm sorry, that's going to be your server name. So, we're going to put Intense Computing Server. Okay, so that's going to be the name that you see when you go to connect to a server in Urban Terror. Now, Urban Terror presented by Frozen Sand, we're just going to put kick some @ symbol number sign or $$. And we're going to put the same exact thing for the join message also, just because we don't need anything too fancy. If you do leave it blank, then nothing will load. Okay, so general game settings. Now, the max clients is going to be the amount of people that you want on your server, including those who are ghosts. So we're going to set this to about 15, and then we're going to set max game clients to 12. So that means that if there are 15 people in my server, only 12 of them can actually play the game. Okay, so the game type right here, if you just follow these instructions, you'll see exactly what's going on. You don't really need to watch the rest of this video, but you have all the different game options, and you put the number that corresponds to the game mode. So we're going to choose Capture the Flag, and that is number 7. So inside the parentheses here, where it says Game Type 4, we're going to change that to 7. Make sure you don't delete the parentheses, by the way. Alright, we're going to leave the SVD URL alone. That is for if you want to download custom maps. Now, if you have a server set up for downloading maps, for downloading all custom maps, then that's okay. But I would not suggest changing that unless you know what you're doing. Okay, Archon password. Now, this is going to be what you use to slap, kick people, ban people, do all those fancy tricks. So, I'm going to type in I heart nanners. Bananas, if you don't know. Bananas. I'm going to say I heart nanas, okay? SV private password, that is if you want your server to be private, which most people do not, because you want people to come in and play with you. Unless you want it just to be you and your friend, or you and your colleagues that can play. Okay, G password, you're going to leave that alone. Limit/time. Now this gets into actual game modes and stuff. So, how your server's how people are gonna really like your server. I personally leave everything that's there alone, because everybody seems to like the default settings for time limits. Okay, spawning, I'm also going to leave alone. Again, if you do want to edit it, just read behind the / and you can figure it out. The rules, okay, these get a little bit in depth, so let's dive into this. Determines if alive players can see dead players' messages. Now, 0 meaning living players cannot see dead players, but I think I want dead players to be able to talk to alive players, just because that way people don't leave the room. Anti-warp, leave that alone. That means that if people are having a problem with their connection, they won't skip across the map or anything. we're gonna go skip down to gear. Now the gear, I will post a link in the description for editing the gear, and basically you get a number string that allows you to replace it for this 0 that's here. Actually, oh, here's the URL right here, so I'll show you how to use this. So let's copy that and open up Chrome. We're going to paste and go. Okay, so now you have options to select all of the different, I'm sorry, up here, the calculator G gear. Now, let's say we only want pistols and, let's say we want everything but grenades and spaz, which is the shotgun. So let's say everything but those two. And now, so right here, you get a number that's 5. But if I did something different, like if I only wanted, pistols and grenades, then it's 54. Or if I wanted snipers also, then it's 52. So it all depends what you want. But we're gonna go with pistols, snipers, automatic guns, and the Negev, and also grenades. And so that's gonna be 4. We're gonna copy that. I don't need to copy. I remember 4. We'll just put in for 0 right here. We're going to put it in for 4. Okay, allow vote now. Now, this is on the same page, actually, for, allowing the vote. So you can, I want to allow kicks, I'm sorry. I want to allow them to change the gear, restart, cycle the map, change the map, and also go to next map. That's about it, I think. If you give people too much power, then they will abuse it. But that we're going to copy by pressing Control-C. And then we're going to highlight there where it says allow vote and paste it. Okay, so we're going to leave the follow strict and the flood protection alone, just because that will that's a good those are good settings. The match mode we're also going to leave alone. Now team game settings. The max team kills I like to set to 2 because I hate people who will constantly start killing you. It is very annoying. Friendly fire. So friendly fire means that if you can kill your teammates. 0, if you set it to 0, that means that you can't kill your teammates. Okay, so team kills forget time. So after 300 seconds, it's going to forget that you killed those 2 people. I'm going to set it to 600 seconds just because I'm sorry, I'm going to set it to 200 seconds, less time, so that way sometimes you accidentally kill people. It just happens with grenades and stuff, and you don't want people getting kicked for no reason because they won't rejoin your server. Okay, team name red. Let's set it to we're gonna set this to robbers, and we're gonna set this one to cops. Basically, that will be the name of the 2 teams. That kind of thing. We're going to set this to. We're going to set this to 0. Of course, you don't have to set everything to what I'm setting it to. We're going to leave everything alone and skip down to advanced settings. I'm sorry, down to master servers. I will have a list of the master servers that you want to use, and you can find that list down in the description. Okay, other settings we're not going to play around with. Map rotation. Now, you really need to get a little bit more in depth to play with that, so if you want to look it up on Google, you can do that, but basically that allows you to change your map cycle. Well, we'll go over it actually. We'll go over that. We're going to change this to maps. Instead of mapcycle.txt, we're going to change it to maps.txt. And that's it. So now we're going to File and Save. Okay. Now we have to go back into our Urban Terra folder, okay? And then go ahead and go back into Q3 UT4 folder. So because we edited the last file and made it maps.txt instead of mapcycle.txt, we're going to rename this to maps. I'm sorry, we're going to copy this and then paste it and then rename it to maps.txt. And then that way we have two of them, and it will use the maps.txt. And if you wanted it to use the original map cycle text, then you can always set it back to that. So we're going to edit this maps.txt. Just double clicking on it should open it. Okay, we're going to stick this, we're going to change all of this, and we're going to get rid of the places that we don't like. Tonic, Ramel, Harbor Town, Swim, Oil Depot, Elgin, Tombs, Austria, Algiers. Let's see, let's get rid of all these spacings. Suburbs, Crossings, Subway, Tunis, Thingley, Eagle. Nah, I like Eagle. Ambush. I don't like Ambush. And Abbey, because that's too original. And Turnpike. Okay, so we'll stick with those few maps, and then we're also going to save this one more, or save the maps.txt file. Alright, so now you're ready to actually boot up. Now, what you can do to boot up is go ahead and load the IOURTED application. It is in your Urban Terra folder. Just double click that. Now, you're going to get a window, but your server is not running yet. You need to type something in. So what you're going to type in is EXEC space server.cfg. So that's EXEC space server.cfg, and then press enter. Now you'll see some commands go through, and once you get to this hitch warning here, you will know that it is successful. Now I'm not going to show you because I know that this is running correctly. Everything should be working. However, if you have problems, feel free to come into our TeamSpeak at ts3.codecayenne.net. That is not my TeamSpeak, it's actually my friend's, but that's where I'm available. Or you can also always email me at intensecomputing@comcast.net. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching, and please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. We're really trying to get more subscribers here. Thank you very much.